There are moments in life when every road feels heavy, every door seems closed, and every step forward feels like dragging your soul through fire. Yet, in those very moments, some people rise, not because life is easier for them, but because they carry a mindset that refuses to surrender. Before we continue, if you believe in growing stronger, thinking deeper, and becoming the best version of yourself, like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs strength today, and subscribe for more life-changing messages. They understand that suffering is not the end, but the beginning. People who never give up know that hardship is not an enemy. They understand that storms reveal what comfort hides. They do not fear difficulty, because they know it is the birthplace of transformation. They see failure differently, where others see failure as proof they aren't enough. The persistent see it as a teacher, a guide, a necessary chapter. They don't ask, "Why did this happen to me?" They ask, "What can this make of me?" They choose discipline over emotion. Motivation may start the journey, but discipline completes it. Feelings fade, inspiration disappears, but the mindset of the unbreakable says, "I will show up, even when I don't feel like it." They turn pain into power. The people who endure don't escape pain, they convert it. They use heartbreak to build compassion. They use disappointment to sharpen focus. They use loss to deepen purpose. Nothing is wasted. Every experience becomes fuel. They walk slowly, but they do not stop. Greatness is not built by giant leaps. It is built by small steps taken faithfully. Day after day, one decision, one act of courage at a time. Persistence is quiet, but its results are loud. They believe their story isn't finished yet. Quitting isn't an option, because they know they're still becoming. They trust that every chapter, even the painful ones, is guiding them towards something meaningful. Their hope is not naive. Their hope is strong, disciplined, and intentional. If these words stirred something inside you, if they reminded you of your strength, your value, or your purpose, then I ask from the heart, engage with this video. Your support helps this message reach someone who may be standing on the edge of giving up. Before we close, leave a comment below, telling us one thing you refuse to give up on. Your words may inspire someone else's comeback. Keep walking, keep trying, keep rising, because the secret mindset of those who never give up is simply this: they refuse to believe that defeat is the end of the story. And for you, it isn't. True strength is formed in silence, in the unseen battles that happen when no one is watching and no applause is waiting at the finish line. People who never give up understand that suffering is not a sign of weakness, but a signal that transformation is taking place. They know that adversity is not a punishment. It is a process that shapes character, sharpens perception, and builds a depth that comfort can never produce. When life becomes heavy, they don't assume they are failing. They understand that pressure is the proof that they are being prepared for something bigger than their current situation. Instead of running from discomfort, they lean into it, seeing it as a necessary part of growth that every strong person must experience. Human psychology shows that people grow the most when they are slightly beyond their comfort zone, and those who endure difficulty understand this instinctively. They learn to interpret challenges differently. Where many see setbacks as reasons to stop, they see them as confirmations that they are on a meaningful journey. They realize that muscles only grow under resistance, and the same rule applies to the mind and the heart. They don't avoid the weight, they learn how to carry it. And as they carry it, something powerful happens inside them. Their patience expands, their perspective widens, their confidence deepens. They become more grounded, more aware, and more emotionally stable than before. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they begin to ask, What is this trying to teach me? That shift in mindset rewires everything. They stop feeling attacked by life and start feeling guided by it. They understand that moments of struggle reveal hidden strengths they didn't know they had. Long nights of doubt uncover resilience. Seasons of uncertainty cultivate wisdom. The quiet tears no one sees awaken courage that no one can take away. This internal growth becomes the foundation they stand on when storms return. And because they've survived the dark once before, they know they can survive it again. What makes them different is not that they enjoy suffering, but that they recognize suffering as a sculptor shaping them into someone more capable, more compassionate, and more powerful. They don't chase an easy life, they chase a meaningful one. And meaning always comes with a price. They are willing to pay that price because they understand the truth. The strongest versions of ourselves are not created during peaceful seasons, but during the moments when everything inside us whispers to quit, yet we choose to rise anyway. People who never give up see failure through a completely different lens than most people do, where many interpret failure as the final proof that they are not capable. The persistent mind sees it as a necessary part of the journey. They understand that failure is not a closed door, but a doorway to learning, redirection, and refinement. Human sociology shows that people often attach their identity to their outcomes, which is why failure feels so personal and painful. But the individuals who rise again detach their identity from the moment. They refuse to label themselves based on a single event. Instead of saying, "I failed, so I'm not good enough," they say, "I failed, so now I know something I didn't know before." This simple shift in interpretation gives them an emotional advantage that keeps them moving forward while others stop. They understand that failure exposes blind spots that success often hides. It reveals weaknesses they need to strengthen, habits they need to change, and skills they must develop. Instead of feeling embarrassed by failure, they become curious. They study it. They ask better questions. They use it as a mirror to understand themselves more deeply. They don't fall into the trap of believing one mistake defines their future, because they know that every successful person has walked through countless failures, setbacks, and disappointments. This knowledge gives them courage. It reminds them they are not alone. It shows them that the path to mastery is built on trial, error, adjustment, and persistence. People who never give up also understand that failure tests commitment. Many people start strong but quit after the first painful moment. The persistent mind sees that moment as a filter separating the interested from the truly committed. They realize that passion without perseverance is just excitement, and excitement fades quickly. What remains is dedication. When failure arrives, they do not ask, "Should I quit?" They ask, "How can I return smarter?" This mindset prevents them from being emotionally crushed by temporary defeat. Failure becomes their instructor. It teaches patience. It builds humility. It strengthens resilience. It creates emotional armor that helps them face future challenges with greater calm and confidence. They know that failure is rarely the end of the road. It is usually the point where transformation begins. People who never give up refuse to let failure define their identity. They let it shape their strategy, sharpen their mindset, and build the inner strength required to continue toward the life they envision. People who never give up understand something most people overlook. Emotions are inconsistent, unreliable, and easily influenced by mood, environment, and circumstance, but discipline is steady, trustworthy, and more powerful than motivation. They know that if they depend on how they feel, they will quit the moment the excitement fades or the path becomes uncomfortable. Human behavior studies show that people naturally choose what feels good in the moment rather than what is good for their long-term growth. But those who persevere flip this tendency on its head. They choose action over emotion, responsibility over excuses, and consistency over comfort. They don't wait for the perfect mood to begin, they begin, and the mood follows later. They understand that discipline is not about harshness, but about alignment, aligning daily actions with long-term goals even when the heart is tired and the mind is doubtful. The persistent mind knows that emotions can lie, motivation can lie, even inspiration can lie, but discipline tells the truth. It will always give you the result of what you repeatedly do. They grasp that progress is the product of showing up again and again, especially on the days when they don't want to. They don't waste energy fighting the feeling of laziness or fear. Instead, they bypass those emotions by acting anyway. They have learned that feelings often change after movement begins. The first step is the hardest, but once they take it, momentum takes over. They master the art of doing small tasks consistently rather than waiting for a grand wave of motivation that rarely arrives. People who never give up build rituals and routines because they know structure protects them when emotions fluctuate. They create habits that move them toward their goals automatically, the way a river naturally follows its path. They understand that discipline is simply choosing what matters most over what feels easiest. This mindset gives them strength during stress, clarity during confusion, and direction during uncertainty. When obstacles appear, they rely on habits instead of hope, and on commitment instead of temporary enthusiasm. They embrace the idea that momentum starts small. A habit formed today becomes strength tomorrow. A tiny improvement made repeatedly becomes mastery. They don't wait for perfect timing or perfect conditions. They understand that waiting creates hesitation, and hesitation creates regret. Their strength lies in acting even when the results are not immediately visible. They know that seeds grow underground long before they break the surface, and their efforts often work the same way. They trust the unseen process. They trust the quiet work. They trust that every disciplined action is quietly building the life they want. When obstacles appear, they don't panic or freeze. They simply adjust their step and continue. They know that a setback is not a stop sign but a detour, and detours still lead forward. Their mindset is calm, patient, and resilient because they don't rely on dramatic breakthroughs to keep them motivated. They rely on commitment. They rely on purpose. They rely on the understanding that small steps repeated daily become a force that cannot be stopped. They value consistency over perfection, knowing perfection is an illusion that discourages people from trying. People who never give up also understand that slow movement trains the mind to handle discomfort, trains the body to handle effort, and trains the heart to handle disappointment without collapsing. Each small step strengthens their resilience. Each steady movement builds inner confidence. They discover that persistence isn't loud. It's quiet, humble, and steady. It's getting up one more time. It's returning to the task even when no one notices. It's believing in a future self that will thank them for not quitting. By walking slowly but refusing to stop, they develop a kind of strength that outlasts talent, motivation, and even passion. Their progress may be gradual, but it is unshakable, and in the end, it is those small daily steps that carry them farther than they ever imagined. People who never give up carry a powerful belief inside them their story is not finished yet, no matter how difficult the chapter they are living feels. They understand that life is a series of evolving moments, and one painful season does not define the entire journey. Human sociology shows that people often make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions, but those who persist refuse to let a moment of weakness become the end of their identity. They see themselves as a work in progress, constantly learning, constantly adapting, and constantly becoming. This belief gives them hope even when everything around them seems uncertain. They trust that the path ahead still holds possibilities they haven't discovered yet. And this trust becomes their anchor during storms. They know that setbacks are not signals to stop, but signs that growth is taking place beneath the surface. They understand that every strong person they admire walked through moments of doubt, confusion, and fear. This awareness reminds them that struggling does not make them broken. It makes them human. They don't expect the journey to be clean or perfect. They expect it to be messy, challenging, and unpredictable, and that expectation keeps them resilient when challenges hit harder than expected. They give themselves permission to feel pain without surrendering to it. They realize that the story is still being written, and the hardest chapters often lead to the most meaningful breakthroughs. People with this mindset also believe deeply in the power of possibility. They carry an inner voice that whispers, "There is something more for you." Even when their circumstances look bleak, they understand that failure today doesn't decide success tomorrow. They know that endings are often disguised as beginnings, and detours often lead to destinations they never imagined. Their hope is not naive, it is built on the understanding that life changes. People grow, and opportunities appear at unexpected moments. They've seen enough transformation to trust that the future can still surprise them in beautiful ways. They also refuse to define themselves by past mistakes. They know they are capable of rewriting their narrative at any moment. They believe that their next decision holds more power than their last failure. This mindset gives them emotional strength, because it means they are never stuck. They always have the ability to choose again, try again, and rise again. They understand that growth is not instant, but it is inevitable when they continue moving forward. The belief that their story isn't finished becomes a powerful shield against hopelessness. It keeps them grounded, focused, and courageous. It reminds them that every day is a new page, and every page is a chance to rebuild. It is this unwavering belief in the unfinished nature of their journey that allows them to keep walking, keep striving, and keep fighting for a life that reflects their highest potential.